Hi, and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits.
And I'm Callie, also known as Calsters.
And today is Sunday, May 1st, 2016. This is episode 255. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back one more week. And if you're new, hopefully you enjoy this week's podcast and you'll come back in the future. You may notice a slightly different angle and view. We are trying something different, spur of the moment decision. We're trying to record on my phone as we think the lighting and the colors will play out a little bit better. So you'll have to let us know what you think, pending that I'm able to get this off the phone and onto the computer. You know, all those tech fun things that we podcasters get to do. But so, how have you all been? It's been a crazy whirlwind for both of us. Hopefully not so crazy for you guys, and hopefully you've been enjoying the nice weather. It's been rather rainy here the past couple of days, which has kind of put out my plans to mow the lawn and clean the gutters and do any sort of yard work, seeing as we're going to be gone the next 2 weekends. So that's always fun. So I'm going to go into a quick week in review for myself, and then Callie will catch you up with what she's been doing before we get into the knitting this week. So I taught a full week. I've only got like another 3 full weeks left, so that's exciting. 2 full weeks and then some final exams, and then a random Monday thrown in there due to a snow day that we had in February. So the kids are getting ready to want to leave and be done, and so we're doing our final unit, which of course, you know, as a teacher, I have to test and assess the kids at the end of the unit, and they're like, wait, do we have another test before the final? And I'm like, yes, you do. And by test, I teach high school English. I mean an essay, not a test in the regular terms. But there's also all the standardized testing and district testing. I'm going to be proctoring district testing the next 2 days, and then possibly makeup, so that's always fun. Yeah, so didn't do much throughout the week. I did have to stay Wednesday for another round of interviews. We interviewed 3 more people for potentially being a new English teacher in our department. I think we're going to offer to 1, so that's good. We do have 1 position already filled. They've accepted, so that's good as well. It's just very interesting being on that side of the table. But that's all I'll say about that. So, and then yesterday, Saturday, I went to my local yarn store and dropped off some custom dyed yarn for them, and got to stay for knitting afternoon of fun and catch up with people and work on our knit along that we're doing at our local yarn store, and picked up some Starbucks on the way home. That was a nice treat for myself.
Did you get your usual?
I did get my usual. I did. And made the truck through the drive-thru. I don't like those single-lane curbs on both sides of drive-thrus in the big truck. But I made it through. It was fine. So, and surprisingly, Starbucks is much quicker if you go through the drive-thru than if you go inside. So, but that being said, I came home and got back to dyeing and doing rescanning and doing work. And then been working this morning too. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in terms of my stuff. I know I have a dentist appointment coming up this week. Exciting. It's just a cleaning, but that's that. So how have you been?
Things have been busy. Since last, I've had my bandage taken off on my hand. So now I get to sport this. And I do get to take it on and off to shower with, but more often than not, I keep it in my protector. I don't let it kind of roam freely during the day, unless I'm taking it off to just get some air in it. I have got gauze tubing. I don't know if that's the right technical medical term for it, but it's basically gauze in a tube, and so it's not like it's totally covered. Like, there is some air getting in there, but it's just nice to be able to take it off every once in a while. But things that I've noticed is that I can bend this first joint, if you will, but I can't move the other ones. So it's hard. Like, this hurts immensely, but I'm supposed to do it every once in a while, so then that way this finger doesn't get stiff. So it has been interesting because I noticed that when I sleep, when I like turn over, my instant reflex is to bend the actual tip of my finger. That was the part that had gotten sort of on, sort of off, and surgery. So, and there's still a pin in there, so it is very painful because when you bend it by accident, the pin bends with it, or not so much. So that's been an interesting things that I have found. I can hold a cup, but I have to hold it like this, so I'm not flipping you off. But
She's just a pretty princess.
I just can't bend it. And I got a cast put on my leg for my toe, which seems not like it should be happening, but I don't get a drive for at least until the end of the May, possibly to mid-June. It just depends on how well it heals. So I get it on and off once a week. So I had it on for 3 days last week, and then they took it off, and then they replaced it Tuesday. Excuse me. And so that's been interesting to get around. So overall, it has been a struggle bus to try to move and walk, but at least it's not snowing, so, or icy, which is something I'm very grateful for.
Yeah.
But other than that, not too much. Been busy at work, and we'll get busy as fair approaches.
Well, let's get to the knitting. So, what's taking you about? I got nothing because, well, life's been busy. I'm sure you'll hear that word. It may become a drinking game this week, but I get very little crafting time, so I'm becoming an expert on working my knitting into every little extra minute that I can get a few stitches in. So, but unfortunately, I don't have anything finished. Maybe next week I will.
I don't. I almost had one sock done if I would have focused solely on it, but I decided not to.
Yeah, again, that's kind of my issue. I was like, I could have focused for like 2 days and finished one of these projects, but alas, I did not. So,
well, and I've noticed too, because I do all of my socks on DPNs, that I can do it with my hand, but it's a little bit harder and not as like fluid as you'd like it to be. So I've switched to a different project in between, so then that way it kind of gets a little bit more rest.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what's performing for me? Not using the computer, and I just went to sleep. All right, so first thing, it was the project that I probably could finish, but did not, and that is Banner Day by Megan Williams. I'm using Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper in the Metamorphosis colorway, and I'm on the lace edging. And I've been debating finishing where it says to finish or using all the rest of my yarn and continuing the lace edging, and I think I'll probably use the whole skein. So I've been good on moving my Dickie-Doos. So here is Banner Day. You can see I just had finished up the main body, and I've gotten into the lace edging. So it's weird trying to hold it closer to the phone than the camera, but the colors are showing up a lot truer, at least what we're seeing. So,
Yeah.
So there's that. It is going to need to be blocked because I mean it barely. Well, I don't know. It'll fit, but it will stretch a lot.
Yeah.
So there's that, and hopefully I'll have that done. I still have this much yarn left, so my cake is becoming deflated. And that's in my Fat Squirrel Fibers bag that I picked up at SSK last year. And next up for me is Quaker Lines by Susan Ashcroft. I'm using Classic Elite Yarns Liberty Wool Light in color number 6699, which is Cloudy Dawn. And I'm doing this on a size 6 US, 4 millimeter. And I just finished... as in, well, not just finished. I have this much left of the first ball, but I am going to move on to section 2. You have to do a third of your yarn before you move on to section 2, and since I have 3 balls, I finished 1 ball, that's a third of my yarn, and I'll move on to section 2, which stops the increasing on one side. So you can see the Dickie-Doo there. I didn't get much work, but I did work on it at knitting yesterday afternoon. So It'll open up a lot with a nice blocking. I'm liking the way the colors are playing out now that more color has been worked into it. But
now, will the second ball and third ball, will they start in the same color sequence, or?
I'm not really worried about it. I don't know. The way you can see there's blips of color in the transitions. So, and they kind of go in and out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I asked our local yarn store owner, because she's binding off, I said, did you do any color management? She said, not really, except on the last ball. She has a prominent, brighter color compared to the rest, and that was at the end of the ball. So she just wound it so she'd go from the opposite end, so that bright color wouldn't be so close to the last time it came up. But I'll take a look at the next ball and see. I'm really not too concerned. I'm kind of like, meh, I don't know if I'm going to wear it, so somebody will like it. And this is in my Knit Spin Farm bag, which I picked up at the fiber event in Greencastle, and I showed off. So it's been moved into here, which it has a double drawstring, which I don't think I have a bag like that. So that's a lot of fun and fits the project excellently. Next up for me is Ayano by Mercedes Tarasovich, which is knit out of Another Crafty Girl Ooh Shiny Sock in the Rock Eater colorway. And Two Guys Yarn Company, the Bachelor Collection Fingering Weight in Dutch Island. And I'm in the middle of the row because I'm working on it while we're recording, and so you can see the Dicky Doo. I'm just doing two row stripes right now with some increases, but you can see I didn't get much work done on this week. So I do hope that the color plays out this well. We may be recording on my phone from now on. Granted, I don't have a large memory phone, so we'll find out. We'll see how long this recording lasts. I think I have like the smallest, not data, but you know what I'm talking about.
Gigabyte.
Memory, yeah, that you can get, because I'm like, I don't store anything on my phone, really.
The irony is that I just upgraded to the max.
So,
well,
see, I don't store music or anything, or down. You know, I don't use. I mean, I put an audiobook on it for my car, and then when I finish it, I immediately delete it from the device, so that it doesn't take up space. Anyway, so that's going, and this is on size. Maybe my show notes will work. My computer has been running really slow, so it might be good that we're recording on the phone. Size 5 US, which is 3.75 millimeters. And then the last thing that I've been working on, I got a decent amount of work done on it while I've been rescanning down in the studio. I'm working on my brownies sock recipe, which is put out by Gina Canuse, who has the Brownie Knits podcast, and I had the pleasure of meeting her at the fiber event in Greencastle. I'm knitting this out of Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper Intermission, which is our 50-gram skeins of our Showstopper base, great for cuffs, heels, and toes, in the Perfection colorway, and Luna Bud Knits Buddy Sock in the Deep Waters colorway. And I just started the pattern, and I'm almost done with the leg. I've got a few more, I think about 8 more rounds. I did do a longer leg than I think what it was originally called for. So my question is, I really want to see how this knits up in stockinette. Now when I get to the foot, I know that the bottom of the foot will be in stockinette, but I'm debating doing the whole foot in stockinette. The pattern is super easy. It's a broken rib, but it's almost not mindless enough. I know that sounds bad. I'm so used to just stockinette socks that I might just give myself a little bit of texture in the leg and then just make myself a little bit happier on the foot to knit in stockinette. But I am going to try to do the garter stitch heel in the Perfection colorway. So I'm going to try a garter stitch heel rather than a normal heel, which she has in the pattern as well. So there's that. Super excited. And these are knit on size 1 US, which is 2.25 millimeters. 2 circulars is my preferred method for knitting socks. And this is in my Silverside USA bag that we carried in our shop, and a lovely viewer gifted me for my birthday. I love the neckties. So that's that, and yeah, I think that's it.
So I have only been working on 2 projects actively, and I'm trying to finish this first, so then that way I can hold it up. But this is just a basic boomerang, and it's in Barocco Boboli, and it is in a purple colorway.
Wait till you see some of my stash enhancements.
How would I not be surprised if it did not include some Barocco Boboli lace? So, this is about how far I have gotten. The Dicky Doo I actually put in yesterday, so I've gotten a lot done since yesterday. I was in a lot of pain yesterday, so knitting was about the only thing I could do, and I had to keep putting it down. So I'd say that's pretty good progress overall for a day.
Mm-hmm.
So, pretty good. I try to avoid taking my painkillers because they make me nauseous and drowsy, so it's not exactly a great combo that I really like.
Yeah.
So.
That's funny because I'm in the middle of watching an older Knit Girls episode because that's how busy I've been. I'm even behind on the Knit Girls, and they know I love them. And I'm watching like 3 weeks ago maybe, and Laura was talking about how painkillers make her nauseous as well.
Yeah. And I think it's, I don't know, I think it's a lot of things because it affects like my actual medicine that I'm taking too, I'm sure. So the last time that we were on, I had a finished sock, and Steve so graciously cast on my my cuff for me, so then that way I didn't have to try to figure it out. So I did put in for the heel flap here, and I am a little over halfway from completing the foot, maybe just a little bit under, not a little bit over, but I should have these done the next time that we record. So
you went to town on that one.
I did, and I have to say, so I am mostly only knitting these when I watch the Grocery Girls podcast because they are doing sock talk, and I had talked about them a few episodes ago. I found them through Lisa Fiber Nymph, which, by the way, Lisa got engaged this past weekend, within the last couple of days, I shouldn't say weekend, because it's still going on, but congratulations, Lisa, that's really awesome. I'm really happy for you. We both are, so, but I found their podcast, and they do a lot of really great they have a whole section on sock talk, and it's just all the socks that they're knitting, and they're quite the enablers. So I am halfway through episode 5. They have longer podcasts. It's about an hour and a half or so. Sometimes they go over get over more than an hour and a half, and sometimes they go a little bit under, but that's about their average. So I've gotten pretty far based on just just knitting these while I'm watching those episodes. So pretty great. And that's all that I'm working on actively. Oh, and maybe you might want to know the specifics on these. Sorry, it's Friday Studios in the Hawaii colorway, and I'm knitting on size 0 US. And that's a
2 millimeter, maybe?
Yes, it is a 2.0 millimeter. Millimeter, not millimeter.
So, moving right along, in rehearsal, again, I don't really have anything in plans other than, like, some basic hats and socks, which you'll see coordinated with some of the stash enhancement that I have this week. So, behind the scenes, my spinning, I don't have anything to show you because I decided to start plying this morning. I am working on some Into the World Polworth silk in the Cerulean Dream colorway, and I got the singles finally done. I've been working on this for about a month, and I am going to be plying it up. So I'll be able to show that to you next week and then get it out to its recipient, and I'm sure they will be very excited to get it. So I'm doing it as a 2-ply fractal spun, so sorry, nothing to show this week. So let's move into the scene shop. Cross-stitching. Cross-stitching is going. I do want to say one thing. I did do a little enabling on Amazon watching other floss tube episodes, and don't worry, I'm not going to be doing a separate floss tube or anything. That's why I keep this section very small. But somebody posted, and I've seen things when you look up cross stitch on Amazon or whatever, you'll see a lot of things for 5D diamond cross stitching or diamond paintings. And basically what it is it's a color chart, the size of whatever it is, and you get them through China usually, and they're relatively inexpensive. Mine came from China, I'm assuming, so it says it actually won't be here till the end of the month. But it's got a chart with codes, and it's got a little key on the side with what crystal or diamond plastic thing. It's not a diamond, but it's essentially like a bead without a hole, where it goes. And so then you take little tweezers and you peel back. It's got a thing, and it's a sticky surface. And you take your tweezers and put the colored diamond where it goes on the chart, just like the cross-stitching chart. And then put the plastic back down and press it down. And in the end, you have a painting, essentially. But like some of the diamonds may sparkle, or it adds depths and texture and whatnot. So I actually picked up a design from a painting that I had been looking at in cross-stitch design that's a full coverage piece. And I was like, well, I'm not going to get to that cross-stitching one in any time soon, so let's do this one. Now, this is something I'm going to have to do at like the kitchen table to lay it all out and do that, so it's not that portable, but I figured I'd give it a try, and it was like $15. So...
See, that seems more my speed. Like, I would totally do that.
Well, and it seems like anybody from like a 2-year-old can do it. So, we'll see. Oh, great. My emails come up on my phone, and I'm still recording, but I've got to... There we go. Sorry. Little things come up on emails, and then we can't see ourselves, so... Sorry, I don't edit either. So, so I'll be excited to show you that. At that point, Andy did tell me I really do not need another craft. And I was like, it's kind of in the cross-stitching realm. Anyway, so let's show you what I worked on with cross-stitching. So I'm currently working on a Bent Creek design called Begin Row. And let me see if I can pull this out and show this to you. I'll get it. Looks like this. And we'll see if this actually turns the video around. Actually, no, it's doing it the right way, I think. Nah, we'll find out. So, I've worked decently on this, and I got another tree and some other letters and a brown line, so I'm working from the center out. Yes, you can see how creased when I hold the fabric bunched up to the hoop. But, so there's that. This is done on 14 count Aida and DMC floss. And I do loop starts, and I'm actually thought I was ingenious and could do a loop end, which meant I would pull my thread through the loop before I tightened it on the end and snip it. That doesn't give it enough to anchor it down, so I have some frayed ends coming through, which I may need to go back and kind of duplicate stitch over to kind of help secure them. So I've learned not to do that. You can do a loop start and not have any issues because you're still using the thread as your cross stitch, but you can't do a loop end and hope that that one loop is going to hold tight enough to hold it in. So I've learned my lesson, because I can see another one coming loose down here, and it's not making me happy. Anyway. Who knows, maybe I'll need to learn how to rip out cross-stitching. I don't really know how you do that, but sure there's a YouTube video for it. Okay, so let's keep moving. What are we watching and reading? We're moving into In the Spotlight this week. I did watch about one episode of Walking Dead. I know that it's over and done with for the season, but I'm still way behind because I don't have time to watch TV. But I did like finish an episode and get like 10 minutes into another one. So there's that. We did watch House of Cards Season 4, Episode 2. I was like, hey, we haven't watched that in a while, so we forced ourselves to watch that last night, and then we've watched 2 movies. I think we must have watched one last Sunday. We watched Lucy, which stars Scarlett Johansson, where it's about her receiving a drug that allows her to use 100% of her brain whereas we normal humans only use 10%. I thought the concept was really interesting. It was not that good of a movie, though. Unfortunately, I wouldn't recommend it. If you want something in the background, but you're doing something else, but don't be like, ooh, let's let the whole family watch it. It wasn't that good. And then the day before, Friday night, we watched Jurassic World. Thought it was pretty good. I liked that it played to the original, that's like when I grew up. Jurassic Park came out. I was about 9 when it came out. So, but it was pretty much the same story. Almost, but bigger and grander, 25, 30, 20 years later. So, but I enjoyed it. So that's that. I did finish a book, which I'm going to read the book jacket for you here in just a second. But it was the first audiobook recommendation that I've taken from the two Knitlit Chicks. I love their audio podcast. I love listening to it when I'm rescanning. Actually really do enjoy hearing them talk about their books as well. But I finished listening to The Life We Bury by Alan Eskins, and I'm going to read the book jacket real quick and then give you my thoughts. Hopefully, if the computer will work with me. Again, it takes just a minute to think. All right, here we go. College student Joe Talbert has the modest goal of completing a writing assignment for an English class. His task is to interview a stranger and write a brief biography of the person. With deadlines looming, Joe heads to a nearby nursing home to find a willing subject. There he meets Carl Iverson, and soon nothing in Joe's life is ever the same. Carl is a dying Vietnam veteran and a convicted murderer. With only a few months to live, he has been medically paroled to a nursing home after spending 30 years in prison for the crimes of rape and murder. As Joe writes about Carl's life, especially Carl's valor in Vietnam, he cannot reconcile the heroism of the soldier with the despicable acts of the convict. Joe, along with his skeptical female neighbor, throws himself into uncovering the truth, but he is hamstrung in his efforts by having to deal with his dangerously dysfunctional mother, the guilt of leaving his autistic brother vulnerable, and a haunting childhood memory. Thread by thread, Joe unravels the tapestry of Carl's conviction, but he and Lila dig deeper into the circumstances of the crime. The stakes grow higher. Will Joe discover the truth before it's too late to escape the fallout? I gave this 5 stars on Goodreads, and it's been a while since I've done that. I enjoyed the narrator, I enjoyed the story, and I think there was a lot of levels to the story, and subplots, which is really important when creating a engaging narrative. So I would highly recommend it. The Audible version is very, very good. If you want to pick up a physical copy, I would say do so. Its average rating on Goodreads is 3.9 stars. Again, I gave it 5, so highly recommend you check out The Life We Bury by Alan Eskins. And over to you, Kelly.
I actually have been reading quite a bit. I'm still reading the BFG by Roald Dahl because I just don't want it to end. I'm still reading Love is the Cure by Elton John. And I started 2 new books. One is, I've read both of them, but I thought I picked the books up in a library sale about 6 months ago or so. But one is Johnny Tremain by Esther Forbes. It's a Newbery Award winner or runner-up. Newbery honor. I can't remember. But I read it in 5th grade. We read it as part of our social studies and history class. And I really liked the book. And actually, I liked it so much that it was one of those books that, was your first, had to read it along with the class kind of things. But I aced everything. I aced our vocab, our spelling with it, the essay portion, and our general test over it. And I still have the papers because that was when we started traveling from one classroom to another. And I beat my whole class in everything in terms of that unit. So I still have my test saying that I was the best in my grade. So that was exciting. because you keep those things. And so I'm rereading it, and I still really enjoy it as much as I did when I was in 5th grade. And I'm also reading from the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. something. I really like it. Again, it has to do with history. It's about 2 kids that run away from home, and they end up in the... it's a art museum, but I want to say it's in something else. I can't remember the actual museum's name. So I'm really enjoying rereading that. So that's all I have been doing. I haven't really been watching TV, so... Well, I have been keeping up with Empire, but that goes without saying.
Well, you were behind with it before.
Yeah,
You must have gotten caught up then.
They did mid-season break, and so I caught up on everything, and then they came back about a month ago, and I have been watching every episode since the same night that it comes out. So they're making some really bold choices in their plot lines, but it is definitely still keeping me engaged, and still stuff that is very plausible. It's not like far-fetched, we're trying to save, ourselves from the show getting canceled type of thing. So still really enjoyable, and I'm really excited to see where these next final 2 episodes go. So
I did receive word as well that Grace and Frankie season 2 is coming out this week on Netflix. So Andy was telling me that, and I said, well, we need to finish season 1. He's like, I thought you finished it. I said, no.
No, I think we've got about 6 more episodes.
Yeah, I'm not sure. 5 or 6, because I think there's 13. That's the typical Netflix season, is 13 episodes. So, but anyway, let's move on to Stash Enhancement. As I said, I wasn't the best of boys this week, but it's okay. It's been a little while. So first off, I received my Three Waters Farm Top of the Month Club in the mail this week. And this month is BFL, which is Blueface Lester. And I received the colorway Early Blooming, which looks like this.
That's pretty.
So I think I've got 12 stashed at this time. I was like, is what it is.
Are you going to renew the club?
It's constantly renewal. Like, it's till you cancel it. So... I don't know. We'll have to see. Once I hit like 20, I might have to reconsider. And then at my local yarn store yesterday, I got enabled. I wanted some stuff that I've been looking at. I was going to pick up a skein of Madeline Tosh Twist Light, which is their new base of merino nylon. And in the colorway, I believe it's Modern Fair Isle that I've been looking at with the small speckles. You've seen me look at it. And she was out of it. It's been there since December. And of course I go, and she's out. So I bet you it was all those knitting pipeline people who showed up on Friday to the shop, because they did a little field trip out there and did a little meetup. And I bet you it was those people who bought it all. Anyway, it's fine. So
not bitter at all.
No, not bitter at all. I was enabled by this. I'm always looking at this, and then I liked the color, and I thought I'm going to knit another Jacques Cousteau hat for myself. This is Barocco Boboli, the worsted weight, in color 5320, which is Ceylon. It's Ceylon. I had to look it up to find the colorway. This is actually discontinued, the Barocco Boboli. It's 42% wool, 35% acrylic, 23% viscose, 100 grams, 206 yards. So it's a beautiful, like, metallic rust and silver and gray. So I'm excited to make a hat for myself out of this. And then our LYS owner has been stocking the Schockenmeyer Regia, Arnie and Carlos design lines. And I saw Susan B. Anderson knitting a pair of these with white cuffs, heels, and toes, and I want to be just like her. So this is... color 3657, which I think I looked up, which was Summer Nights, and looks like that. I'd show you the sock, but on the cuff, but it's not, or on the ball band, but it's not the same colorway. So these are 250-gram balls, and they come with 231 yards, I believe, each. So it's a 75-25 superwashable nylon blend. And they do the kind of, again, this isn't the exact colorway, but they do the kind of faux aisle. Where? I guess the phone doesn't like to focus too well. Anyway, there's that. So I picked up 2 skins of those. That's it. That's all I got. And I did purchase a class. I'm going to take a class at my local yarn store on brioche knitting. Not that I'm totally flabbergasted by it or want to do all the brioche, but I think it's a good skill to have. And I'm considering taking one of the brioche classes at SSK this summer. So I figure I should at least know the basics. So for a 2-hour class, I can get the basics and get a scarf project started. And so I'll be taking that in mid to late May. And I'll show you that when I get there.
Cool.
All right.
I had stash enhancement.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Forgot.
The last time we recorded, I said that I had ordered something from Stephen B. And it is here. First of all, I just wanted to say I did not mess up the packaging. This is how it came. So it kind of looked like a little bouquet of flowers, and I really liked that. So that is Stephen B.'s information. But this is for Josh Ricks, sort of a knitter. For his knit along, this colorway and several others were made for his Bad Nut pattern. It's a shawl. This is Republic of the Wool, and it is twist fingering. It's 80-20, and it's about 400 yards, and it's in the Snosberry colorway. So I really liked this a lot.
That will make a statement, that is for sure.
Yep, and I actually, I know who it is going to. My friend Christina, she has been breast cancer free for a while, for about 2 years now. And so I was going to do, and she's a chocolate lover. So I was going to do the Bad Nut pattern, because she does like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and she'll love that it's called Snosberry, because she also enjoys saying it. So I'm going to knit that for her and hopefully give it to her in October during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The second thing that I bought was a large Silver Shed USA bag, and it is in the Viewmaster pattern. And I really love this. I've loved this fabric since I have seen it come across many podcasters' pages and bag makers' pages. It is a green and light green polka dot on the center. And Anne sent us a bag to give away. So we are going to do it for the May Race to the Finish line, or Race to the Finished Object, excuse me. And so this will be one of the prizes. It is Batgirl, Supergirl, and Wonder Woman. And this is her medium project bag. And on the inside, it is black polka dots on a red background. So totally love. And actually, when I got the package, I was like, oh, that feels like more than one bag. I didn't order more than one bag. And then I saw this in here and I was like, oh, Anne, you shouldn't have. Well, Anne put a note in on the back of it, said, please give away on the podcast. So I was like, oh. So I might have to go into the shop and might have to purchase one for myself. So, but this was very, very generous of Anne. And if you have not tried one of her bags, they are fantastic, and they're almost exclusively what the bag that I carry. So I really, really love Anne's products. So give her a try if you haven't. She is on Etsy under the Silver Shed USA.
Speaking of bags, we do have a very generous coupon code from Daisy at Art and Stitch Toot on Etsy, and you have about 2 more weeks left until May 15th to use the coupon code LeadingMen16. Leading Men is lowercase 16, all one word, and that will get you 20% off of your purchase of bags and stitch markers in her shop. It'll only work on those 2 items, but you can purchase as many as you want and get 20% off the whole order using that coupon code. So thank you again, Daisy, for that. You have until May 15th to use that coupon code.
She's got great stuff too.
She does. And the winner of the Chicago bag received their bag this week and said it's the most awesome thing ever. So they got a kick out of it.
Cool.
All right. Last week, I showed you a skein of yarn that was generously donated to the podcast as well by Michelle of Simply You Fiberworks. And it was a skein of her Waving Girl sock in the purple basil colorway. And so I put it up for a giveaway thread on Ravelry. And I asked, what is your favorite seasoning or spice that you like to cook with? And we had a lot of wonderful entries. It was a very popular giveaway. And right before hitting recording, we locked the thread and drew a winner. And the winner was number 54, who is Elle Mermaid, which is condensed for Little Mermaid. And that is Tina from California. And she, be still my heart, had my seasoning mix of life, which is Italian seasoning and salt and pepper. That's kind of her go-tos. So I use a lot of that, especially when cooking up some chicken breast. So congratulations, Tina. Please get in contact with me. I'm sure you have won before on the podcast, but please shoot me your first and last name and mailing address once again, and I will get this purple basil yarn out to you. So thank you again, Michelle, for donating this. Michelle was very generous in donating things, so she's going to be shown quite a few times over the next couple of weeks. And this week we have she not only dyes yarn, she also makes project bags. We have a drawstring project bag with a yellow top and a bunch of different flowers and butterflies and polka dots on the front. And it's got this wonderful rainbow chevron on the inside along with her tag. And she's included some goodies on the inside as well as, she included 2 of these and I decided to pair them with the project bag. These are needle cozies. This one's My Little Pony. And I don't know, it's a Pinkie Pie, I've heard. I don't know. I'm not a brony. I'm not a male who likes the My Little Bronies. It's got purple little buttons and you put your needles and clip them and then your project won't fall off your needles. So thank you, Michelle, again. And I'm going to open up a thread for this week. And I'll draw a winner next week when we record on Sunday. And in order to be eligible to win, you must be a member of our Ravelry group, which is Dramatic Knits Video Podcast. I'm getting a little tongue-tied. And this week's prompt is going to be, what's your favorite flower? Pictures are a huge plus. So maybe from your own garden, do you have things sprouting up? Pictures from past years, or just pull a stock photo from Google. We'd love that as well. But post a picture of your favorite flower. I figured it worked with the print. So, like that.
That is pretty.
And I know that, as much as we love Anne's bags, these ones I know a lot of people like because they're the squishy kind that you can put into a larger bag, like maybe, one of the larger zipper ones. So, thanks again, Michelle. Check out the Ravelry group to be entered to win for this. All right, moving right along, we have our featured designer knit along. That's on you.
Yep. So we are doing our knit along for the featured designers that have supported patterns for Race to the Finished Object contest threads in the past, or have done other sponsored activity, but mostly from the Race to the Finished Object threads. You can do any project pattern from any of the designers that are listed in the locked thread. It can be one of their free patterns. It could be one from a book. It could be one that is Ravelry, download, whatever. It can be in your library from past, or you can buy it new, whatever. They just have to be one of those designers that we have in the thread. Your project must be started on or after April 1, and we will go until June 30th. And then July 1, we will be pulling a winner. And so if you use any base of Leading Men Fiber Arts, even just a teeniest amount, you can enter your finished object twice in the thread. You can technically enter it 3 times. You could enter it twice in that finished thread, and then once in the Race to the Finished Object thread. Just once. We're watching you. So if you have any questions, please feel free to either burn me on Ravelry or send me a PM message, and I would be happy to answer your questions. We have several of our featured designers that are offering coupon codes, and our current designer is Nicole Drouillard, and she is offering a pattern coupon code, and so you will want to see the thread for that. It's exclusive to us,
to our viewers.
So you definitely want to check that out. And so, yes, I feel that is all that I can recap about that.
Speaking of Race to the Finished Object Contest, we've finished a month as of yesterday. We finished the month of April, so we have some wonderful prizes we want to give away to y'all. So first up, our physical prize from last month for the month of April was a skein of shepherd's wool in the green colorway, which is a worsted weight 250 yards to 4 ounces. That sounds more like a DK to me, but anyway, hand wash, worsted spun fine wool. So this beautiful green. So we locked that thread and we locked it this morning, and we pulled for a winner right before we recorded, and the winner was...
It is Yarn Mall, which is Molly from California, and she knit, Be Still My Heart, a log cabin lapgan, and that's her second one. So very, very awesome. I was very partial to that pattern, and I'll probably be doing it again. So.
And she was number 21, by the way.
Yes.
So we had early drawings. We had, I think, up to 271 entries, but she was the winner of this. So, Molly, please contact me, Dramatic Knits, on Ravelry, and let me know your first and last name and mailing address, and I'll get this out to you. The second prize is a pattern from our featured designer, who is Nicole Drouillard. I got it right. She told me how to say it, and I practiced it. Drouillard. See, I could do it. I got it right this time. Are you clapping? I hope so. She Instagrammed with me getting it wrong last week, and I felt like a sad panda, but it was kind of funny. So, Nicole's generously offered to be our featured designer, and this is her first month, and the winner of one of her patterns was number 65, who is Carolyn 47, and that's Carolyn from Dartmouth, Canada, and she did a wonderful lacy hat. So, congratulations, Carolyn. Please let me know which pattern of Nicole's that you would like. She is Mercantile519 on Ravelry, and I've linked to her pattern page on our show notes, which can be found at dramaticknits.com. So, that being said, congratulations to those winners, and thank you everyone who showed off their finished objects for the month of April. The month of May has started, if you have not heard, and so we have some wonderful prizes for this month's Race to the Finished Object Contest. Yep. As Callie showed, we do have a medium project bag from Anne of the Silver Shed USA, and in that wonderful fabric she just showed, and we have another pattern from Nicole Drouillard. So, yeah, those are our prizes for the month of May. So you must be a member of the group and want to post a picture for everything you finish in the month of May, no matter when you started it, and that'll get you an entry into the drawing. So I think that's it for everything other than center stage. And it's getting really dark in here, but the color's still decent. But to us, we can barely see each other, and we're sitting right next to each other. But it's all for good lighting, right? On the camera, not in real life. Let me show you some things that are going on center stage with Leading Men Fiber Arts. Let me go back, move this forward. Don't have that much to show, but it is May 1st, which means we have a new colorway of the month. This colorway this month is called Long Stocking, and we are also doing pairing up with Anne of Little Skein and the Big Wool for her Sock School 2016, which starts, it's a summer knit along, which starts on May 15th, and you could knit with any yarn you want, no matter if it's big box store, indie dyed, no matter what it is. hand spun, but it's to knit socks. And she came out with a Pippi Longstocking kit in mid-April, and then she also asked some of her favorite dyers to be additional support and come out with kind of their own take on the inspiration of the kit for today, May 1st. So the kits premiered this morning, and we had a decent amount that have all sold out. We have a couple left ready to ship, but we have pre-orders up in the shop that have still been continually selling. So I brought in Longstocking on our Ghost Light base, which is our lace weight base. It's a little more subdued than on the other bases, but I wanted to show you this because I think it's just gorgeous, the amount of mixing and different colors that happen in this. So this is Longstocking again on Ghost Light. This is 80% superfine merino, 20